Hi all. So in the last session we discussed about how we can do chaining of elements using find element and find elements of WebDriver interface. So in this session we'll discuss about OOPS concept in Java. So for OOPS concept, since OOPS concept is the most major asked questions in interviews as you go for automation. So for that I too have notes. I have created myself notes on from Durgasoft. So I'll use that as a reference for now on this. So let's get started upon this. So let me first tell you about what is OOPS concept basically. So OOPS is basically stands on object oriented programming. So what is that? So it is basically we can say methodology to design your program using classes and objects. Okay, it simplifies a way of working, or we can say it simplifies a way of software development and maintaining and maintenance by providing some of the concepts around that. Okay, so with OOPS comes into the picture the first thing, that is object. So what is an object? So an object is basically an entity that has a state or a behavior. Okay, so something that has a state or behavior is always is referenced to as an object. Okay. For example, as we know, chair, car, pen, table, or anything that is basically physically or logically, it is basically an object. Okay. So in programming language, how we say to that. Okay. So object can be set to as defined as that it is an instance of a class. Okay. So an an instance of a class, that means that object contains the address and takes up some memory okay, in the that is, object can communicate with knowing details of each other's data or code. So that is what is reference to an object, that it is a basically an instance of class through which we can access the class. Okay. So for a example we can say, like or a real time scenario, if I can say that, what is dog? A dog is an object. Because why it is an object? Because it has color, name, and breed. Okay, so that is the state of a dog. Okay, that is color, name, and breed, as well as it has some behaviors, that it barks or it eats or it wages its tail. So that can be set to as a behavior of that of a dog. So what is, in simple terms, dog is also an object. So how the state, it has a color, name, and breed, and it has some behavior like eating, barking, and sleeping. Okay, so that is what an object is. So let's come to here and see what are few OOPS concept. Okay, so there are, although we have four major pillars of OOPS, but here we have these also come inside under OOPS itself. Okay, so we have the first has data hiding, then abstraction, encapsulation, then tightly encapsulated class, then is a relationship, has a relationship, then method signature, overloading, overriding, static control flow, instance control flow, constructors, coupling, cohesion, and typecasting. These are the concepts of OOPS basically. Okay, so let's get on to the first thing, that is data hiding. So what is data hiding? By the name itself, it suggests that we are hiding something, hiding our data. Okay, so let's see what is written here. So outside person can't access our internal data directly or indirectly. Data should not go out. Okay, so this feature is nothing but data hiding, that no one from the outside of your, basically from the outside world, can access your things. The gist is this. Okay, nobody from the outside can access your things, private things. Okay, so let's see an example. It's written that after validation or authentication, outside person can access the internal data. Okay, so let's give a very common we can say example is that bank ATM machine. We can say that once we provide the ATM pin and the OTP, if we say nowadays we provide, then only we can access the balance, or we can withdraw balance of our account. So outside person cannot access this, only it's you that who can access this. Okay, but in the sense we can say that you don't know the internal implementation of how this ATM machine is working, but still you are able to do the all the process. So that is what data hiding is, that you do not know what internally it's implemented, and you are just showing the essential things. Okay, So let's say after providing proper username and password, we can able to access our Gmail box. That is quite similar to what I said. So even though we are a valid customer of the bank, we can only access our account information. We cannot access others' account information. So that is what data hiding is. Okay. So how to achieve in this in data hiding classes? So if we declare the data members or which are basically variables itself as private, so we can achieve data hiding. Let's say we have a class public class account and we have a private double balance. So why we have declared this as private? So that only the person whose account is there, he can only access this his balance. Not everyone can access some other's balance. Simple example, that I can access only my account's balance and you can access your account's balance. Okay. So let's say there's a get balance method here, that is public get double balance. So we will write a validation around that. We'll authenticate whether the user is valid user or not for that account, and then only we'll return the balance. Okay. So this is what data hiding is. Okay, so now comes into the picture what is the main advantage of data hiding. Data hiding basically, as it suggests, that we are declaring something as private, so we are securing something. So the main advantage is that security. Okay, so we are basically dealing with security here. Okay, so it now there's a note that it is highly recommended to declare each and every data member as private, to declare data members as private set, but that depends on your need, what functionality you are giving. Okay, so let's move on to another uh, concept, that is abstraction. So hiding the internal implementation and just highlighting the set of services what we are offering is called abstraction. Okay, so in other terms we can say that hiding the internal implementation and just displaying what is needed. Okay, what is needed, just displaying the set of essential service, that what is needed. User does not have to you don't have to show what is internally implemented there. Okay, so example, the bank GUI machine, yeah, the bank ATM GUI screen provides highlighting the set of services that they are offering without highlighting the internal implementation, that how you can withdraw or how that machine is working, how that balance is getting deducted. So that is what abstraction is. So advantages is provides high security, as something as you are not displaying the internal features there. Okay, enhancement becomes easier, improves easiness, and maintainability is easy. Okay, since you are nothing displaying here, so maintainability is quite easy around this. Okay, so what is next here? So the next is encapsulation. So what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is nothing but binding data and corresponding methods into a single unit. Basically, encapsulation means binding up of data member and member functions, basically variables and methods, into a single unit. So that is what is known as uh, encapsulation. Since the name itself, you are encapsulating something. Okay, you are creating a bundle around that. Okay, let's say a class. Class is what it can be said as a collection of data members and methods. Okay, so if any concept follows data hiding and abstraction, such type of component is called an encapsulated component. So class can be said as an encapsulated component. So encapsulation is nothing but data hiding plus abstraction. Okay, so now let's see an example of this. So what are we doing? Public class account, private double balance, public get balance the same. Then public void set balance. Okay, this does balance is equal to balance. Double balance is the argument type. Okay, so we are nothing, just we are encapsulating the data. We are using the concept of data hiding and abstraction. Okay, here. So that is nothing but encapsulation. So we are setting the basically the balance. We are getting the balance, validating around the account name, and we are setting the balance by doing a validation around the account name itself, and then we are setting the same balance, and then here we are returning the balance. Okay, so abstraction encapsulation is nothing but wrapping up of data member and member functions into one unit. Okay, as simple as that. We'll see how to implement these in Selenium. So first let's discuss on the theory part. Okay, so what are the disadvantages of that? Advantages, as we know, easy maintainability, security, and enhancement becomes easy. And disadvantage is that it It basically increases the length of the code and slows down the execution, since we are implementing data hiding as well as abstraction in this. That's why the length of the code will increase. So next comes into the picture is what is a tightly encapsulated class. So a class is said to be a tightly encapsulated if each and every variable is declared as private. Okay, so whether a class contains corresponding getters or setters or not, and whether these methods declared as public or not, these things are need not to be required to check. Okay, so what is that? It means that any of the let's say a class is said to be tightly encapsulated when each and everything inside the class is declared as private. So that is what a tightly encapsulated class. So let's see an example. This is public class account, private double balance. This variable balance is of private type. Public get double balances is a method, and return balance. Okay. So what is this? Each and every variable. There is only one single variable here, that is balance, and that is of type private. So what we say, uh, we can say that this is a tightly encapsulated class, since each and every variable, since there is only one variable here, so this is declared as private here. So let's see few examples of this. So first thing is class A private int x is equal to 0. Since there is only one, since in this class we have a variable that is basically a private, so this can be set to as a tightly encapsulated class. Since private int x is equal to 10 is a int x is a private type. Okay, of the type private. Now we have another class B extends A int y is equal to 20. Why this is said to be as a not tightly encapsulated class? Since y is a non private member here. Okay, y is a non-private member, and if you say that b extends c sorry, and a is of a contains a variable as private, so that is not the case here. Each and every in both the classes, whether it is extending, then in both the classes both should have every member as private, every variable as private. If we see the third example, class C extends A, where X is also a private and Z is also a private. So this C is said to be as a tightly encapsulated class in this case, but B will not be said, because B has a variable Y that is not private in nature. Okay, so let's see another case, that is class in class. Okay, we have X is equal to 10, so straightforward, this is not private. Okay, and now we have class B extends A. This the opposite case is also not valid, because B has private but A does not have some all the variables X as private, and same case as here as well. C extends B, so no, because C extends B and B has a variable Y private, but B extends A, but A does not have the X as private. So this is also not tightly encapsulated. This is also not tightly encapsulated. Neither this is tightly encapsulated. So let's see the note here. So what is the note? If parent class is not tightly encapsulated, then no child is said to be as a tightly encapsulated. Okay, that is what I was trying to tell you in the both example. If parent is not tightly encapsulated, then these two class cannot be set to as a tightly encapsulated classes, irrespective of the fact that they contain private members as well. Okay, so this